Individual versus team coaching. How can tennis help clarify it? Let's find out. Hello and welcome to the Team Coaching Lounge, where leaders and coaches connect and have casual conversations about team coaching and other team topics.
Hello, and I'm Susan.
And I am Claudia.
And we are both accredited team coaches, and we often work together to co-coach corporate teams, non-sports teams. So sit back, relax, and join us for today's conversation.
Today, we're talking about the differences between individual coaching, also called one-on-one coaching, and coaching as it applies to teams. Susan, I understand that you have a story to tell how you saw the differences between those two in a sports setting. Would you tell us a
Yep,
little bit more about it?
absolutely. So definitely interesting as an athlete then and as a coach now to really think about the differences. So when I was young, I played tennis competitively and I had a coach as an individual player when I started. And at that time,
Was this a sports coach, meaning a trainer
this,
kind of
this
coach?
was a tennis coach, sports
Okay,
coach focus. Yes.
thanks.
And so when working with me, he was focused on my physical strength and flexibility, right? I was doing lots of sprints and running, long-term running, just to get my, everything physically well. Then he also focused on my technical skills, how I serve, my swing, my volley, my follow through. I don't remember how many times I spent just tossing the ball up just to learn how to serve, right? Get my serve better. Also, he reviewed my games. So help me identify what my strengths were, what my weaknesses were to create a skills development plan, right? Okay, I need to focus on my backhand more. So we spent time on that. We also focused on my strategy as an individual player based on my strengths and how to defeat my opponent, so to speak, right? And so, very all about me and my skills and abilities. Then, as I progressed, I started playing doubles tennis. So, I still had the individual coaching. And this coach also helped and started coaching my team. So, my tennis partner and myself as a doubles team. And the shift was really obvious when he was coaching us together because it wasn't necessarily about my skills and my abilities. It was, okay, how do we as a team communicate on and off the court, right? How do we build that trust? How do we build that collaboration? We also focused on nonverbal communication because in the midst of a match, right, you can't just sit there and stop and have a conversation. And you also have to be able to, in the moment, signal who is going to retrieve that ball, right?
So
Whether
there's
it's me,
a
but
a whole aspect of choreography and signaling
yes,
in the
yes.
moment, just being able to do it right there.
In the moment, that ball's coming. Is it me or is it you going to get that, right? Versus, right? So you can't go, are you going to get that? No, you got to go, right? Or make some signal. We also talked about each other's strengths and where we were weak, right? So I was really good at the net. So, okay, let's focus on how we use that strength. My partner had a brilliant serve. Okay, let's focus on how we, maximize that. And then we took that and the coach worked, okay, like I said, how do we maximize this? How do we create a collective strategy to optimize our strengths to defeat our opponent? And then we also talked about, well, okay, I needed to work on my serve. She needed to work on her net play. And so, again, a team development plan. And again, all through that, being able to be open and honest and not get offended when somebody said, oh, you did that wrong. It was all about building trust over time. And so those were the big differences I see now as a coach, as an athlete, then I just went with it. But now I see how different it was at that time.
Yeah, it just made sense at that moment to experience that, but now you look at it more from, with a professional eye on that, and you see. I'm actually very surprised. I'm not surprised, but I think that this was a really good example, because I think it mirrors on many levels what happens in professional coaching when we work with
Mhm.
individuals versus teams. And let's stay in the corporate environment for now, because that's mostly what we are doing. But some of the issues
Yes.
will, or some of the parallels can also be drawn to individual coaching outside of companies.
Hmm.
But I mean, there's definitely that when you deal with a individual, you only focus on that one individual, and that one individual, granted, needs to learn how to exist in a wider ecosystem.
Hmm.
That's all nice and good, but there is not this concept of interdependence and joint
Yeah.
contribution and shared leadership, shared values, all that kind of stuff that happens when you all of a sudden work in teams. And I think that that point came across quite nicely, and that the
Yeah.
coaches have a completely different objective and skill
Objective.
set as the
Yeah,
coach.
definitely. Right. It's about, with the team, it's about helping us work effectively together to win. Right. I can imagine if I worked with my coach as an individual, she worked with her coach as an individual, but we never worked together as a team, and we got on the court, it would be total chaos, right? We'd be running into each other because we wouldn't know how to signal. We'd be getting angry at each other because why didn't you get that ball? Why did you miss that serve? Right? It would just
Right.
be
Or,
chaos.
or both people running after the same
The
ball,
same ball. Yeah.
because you can't, granted, you can't do a good job with that, but just because you can do a good job with it, maybe for the benefit of the team and the overall strategy, even though you could do it and could do it well, maybe
It
even
wouldn't be the
better than
right.
the other person, but maybe it's not the moment to do it, and let the other person also do their contribution in their way. And I think that that's a very big point.
Yes.
About Probably you experienced that as an athlete in the doubles, that
Hmm.
you couldn't always be in the driver's seat
No,
with
you had to. And that's where the trust came in. I have to trust that you're going to get that ball. I
that.
have to believe that you've got my back. We're in this together. So there's no right or wrong. Let's just do this together.
Right. Because what makes a team successful is different than what makes individuals successful
Yes.
within even within the context of a team. And
Hmm.
so I think that the basic driver behind just putting yourself back a little bit to make the team shine is because ultimately, if the team starts to be successful, or when the team
When,
starts to be successful, then everybody who was part of that team also becomes successful. So it's a
yes.
win-win-win all across.
Yeah. And it's all about the mindset, right? Which is what we coach on, of actually viewing yourselves as part of the team, right? If I had gone in there thinking only of my performance, regardless of what she did, I would be probably running all over the place trying to hit every ball.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I'd be exhausted and we would probably lose the match
Yeah.
and have a very frustrated team member.
Right. And so in the end, learning what to carry, how to collaborate, uh,
Mm-hmm.
how to communicate, verbally or not, as you mentioned here. I think that there's a lot of that also in corporate teams. These understood shortcuts, these this very specific narrative, the way things are done, and so on. That exists, I think. Also in that kind of parallel.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think Like if I was on the court and hitting every ball myself, short term, yeah, I may win that game. Like I said before, I'd be exhausted. I'm not going to make it that way for the match, right? And that's what team coaching is. It's about the long game. It's about the match. It's not about that one particular game, which is why having a mindset of relinquishing control because you trust your team members is critical,
Yeah.
I think.
Couldn't have said it better. Shall we leave it at this fantastic summary you just did? And
Yeah.
I hope that this helped people a little bit of getting a first sense of the difference between individual coaching and team coaching, and that it's not about the specifics of any one member, but it's about creating an environment in which everybody can contribute what needs to be contributed to the benefit of the team. And
Yes.
so that's a
It's
good
the
start.
long game. The
It's
long game.
a long game. And we'll talk plenty more about all of this. If anybody here likes to share an experience or an anecdote that might be similar to this to help clarify the differences even more, please drop us a comment below. And otherwise, if you want to show us some love just because, click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you do not miss any future content. And we will be back with plenty more in the near future. Take care. Thank you, Susan. Good job. Thanks for your
Thank
story.
you.
Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.